welcome to another episode of Northside Now. This is the podcast where we take you on a tour through all of the ministries and the latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. My name is Patrick, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Glenn Miller and Kevin Bryant. Oh, what's happening?
Hey, what's up? It's Christmas time.
Merry Christmas.
And also joining us today in the podcast room is a very, very special guest. Bringing him in for the holiday. He is our Christmas present this year. It's the one and only Tom Rolfe. What's happening?
Wow.
He is our Christmas present.
I am your Christmas present? I'm a little nervous.
I mean, for the podcast.
For the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, if I may have a moment, I would like to normalize.
Look, he's taking the platform
I'm taking
immediately.
Here we go. I just found
New
out
co-host.
found out about last podcast, and here we go. So I would like to normalize bringing presents to the podcast's host. So I have a present for each of you.
Uh-oh.
It will all make sense when you open these up. And yes, I wrapped them. Holly did not wrap them. So there you go. There's one for Glenn right there.
Just by the shape of it, I have a guess.
I bet you do. It'll make sense. So I just want, has anybody else brought you a present?
No.
Well, there you go.
Are we opening these now, or do we have to save them
Of
for
course we're opening them.
Woohoo! I've wanted one of these my whole life.
It's exactly what I thought it was.
Man, I was hoping to get one of these in my stocking.
Oh, it's not too late.
Since this isn't a visual medium, would you like to describe these to our listeners?
I would prefer
They have
you
eyes.
describe them to the listeners.
Well, the easiest way to describe it is it's a potato.
There you go.
Oh, wait. Mine's a patata.
Potato.
Key difference.
No. This is wonderful. Yep.
Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
In case you weren't aware of this wonderful gift, during
Mrs. Lunch.
Halloween trick-or-treating, Tom was passing out potatoes at his house along with candy.
Right.
So we thought that was pretty humorous.
Had a few left, so there you go.
That's very good. Well, we are here today to create the Northside Now Christmas playlist.
We are.
I've
been waiting for this.
We do have a few of y'all who have given us a shout out on some. Remember, this time we're going to include the artist, and it has to be a Christmas song, not a winter song.
Ooh.
So we've had that conversation, and someone almost got in a fight in my office the other day about Frosty the Snowman.
Redefine what makes it a Christmas song.
So it has to have Christmas or something about Christmas.
Has to at least mention Christmas in
It
the
can't
song.
be a winter song. So Frosty the Snowman is really not a Christmas song, but it was very popularized because of a Christmas movie.
It's a seasonal song,
Seasonal song.
but not a Christmas song. I could agree with that.
Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. That's not a Christmas song. So there's a few who are not
I didn't
Christmas
check
songs.
my list.
That's all right. Well, we can tell you.
I hope they all have Christmas in them.
So, we didn't want the Die Hard soundtrack on here. There are some Christmas songs in that, though, by the way.
Yeah. And I know we had said bring your top 5. I think I
Yeah.
brought my top 40 this time. So.
Yeah, it's hard. It was hard to do 5 and then realize how many Christmas songs there are. But we did say you have to bring the artist this time. Mm-hmm. So we're going to try on the playlist to put in the artist that we have. We're going to try not to do any duplicates, but we may if they're just special. Like I just learned recently that Elvis hated the song Blue Christmas. He hated it. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason on his version of Blue Christmas, it has the woo-woos in it. Because he's like, all right, you're going to make me do it. I'm going to do it my way. We're going to have the woo-woos in it. And that's how they got the woo-woos.
Interesting.
Who was the backup on that?
I don't know if it was the Jordanaires doing that or if there was some ladies that he had on there doing it.
It sounded like
ladies'
women, but
voices. Yeah. So I don't
think
know.
it was.
I don't know.
Like
if
the
it was
Champagnes or
It could have easily
something.
been, yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at it.
Shirelles.
No, not the Shirelles.
I guess I'm going to get started off with the number one song of all time for Christmas music, at least in my opinion. For King and Country, The Little Drummer Boy.
I like that one.
Nice.
It was mentioned in our household.
Yeah, that is an awesome rendition of that song. It's the best rendition. If you've ever see it live, it is the coolest live show. But when they get to that point of doing Little Drummer Boy, it is amazing.
I have a different version of Little Drummer Boy on my list.
I'm sure you do. All right.
How are we doing this?
Our tradition is to go to the left.
Yeah, so Kevin's
next.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm just going to pick one. Like I said last time, I don't have these ranked in order. We talked about that maybe we won't have picked all the classics, but I'm going to pick a classic here. It's The Most Wonderful Time of the Year Andy Williams. And a lot of my picks are nostalgic picks, but my parents listened to Andy Williams and Perry Como and Ray Conniff singers and all those people. It was written in 1963, and it was actually written for the TV show. I don't know if everybody remembers, but he had the Christmas specials every year, like up until the 90s off and on. And so it was actually written by the vocal director for that show, and they wrote it for the show. So if you ever get to see the video out there on YouTube where he's sort of singing around a whole bunch of like a community of people and they're all frozen in a Christmas scene, and then it kind of comes alive at the end. It's really pretty neat, but it kind of resonates with my Midwest sentiment.
Well, I want to go ahead and jump into this because you brought it up. Did Burl Ives, Andy Williams, Perry Como, did they do anything other than Christmas stuff? Because they are synonymous with Christmas.
Yes, but they're very famous for it. Perry Como too. Well, we said that.
Yeah,
one.
Perry Como, Andy Williams,
Bing
Burl
Crosby.
Ives. Bing Crosby, but he had a few other
He definitely did, yeah.
but I don't know any other Andy Williams songs except Christmas songs.
Moon River, you know.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, and he had the big, I think he had a theater in Branson.
Yeah.
I think all the people of that time, that era, was kind of the first time when secular Christmas music was becoming famous.
Yeah, especially in TV.
Yeah, and so if you didn't have a Christmas song, you weren't like a serious performer in many ways. So anyway.
Yeah, well, they say, I don't know, Nashville with country stars, and maybe the same for everybody pop too. You got, 2-3 albums, then you got to do a Christmas album.
Right.
As many Christmas covers come out of Nashville every year,
Yeah.
I think that's still kind of the sentiment. You got to do a Christmas album or you're not a real...
broken.
And then like
Not broken, keep doing it.
6 albums, and then it's the greatest hits.
Yeah. And you got to put a live album in there.
A
at
live
some
album,
point,
yeah.
If you think about most artists, though, they have a Christmas album, right?
Yeah,
For the most part.
after at least 2 or 3 times, you're going to be around for a second. You're going to have to do a Christmas
It's
album.
big business for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right, very good. That's a good one. All right, Tom.
Okay, so Patrick and I were having a discussion. I'm unfortunately not playing by your rules. I have my top 20, but I have them broken down into
Yikes.
categories.
See, I did the same
goodness.
thing. I broke mine down into categories, but I think we have different categories.
I think we have
so-
different categories. So, and I'm trying to do this by bribing you with potatoes. So if I can get away with it. My first one I want to go with is God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, Bare Naked Ladies, and Sarah McLachlan.
That was on my list, too.
Absolutely love that song.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
I'm glad you added that on there because I had a Bare Naked Lady song on my list that I ended up cutting out. So
Yeah, I like both of the performers. I don't know if I remember hearing that song, but I'll go listen to it.
It's
So
fantastic.
I bet I'd like it.
It is wonderful.
Well, I'm going to put a little bit of a disclaimer before I take my turn. So my goal with this is to bring awareness to some hidden gems. You know, like add some bops and some bangers to this list that y'all may not be aware of. And hopefully this will help expand your musical palette and you'll find your next favorite holiday tune.
Do we need to have a disclaimer before any of these?
I don't think so. I tried
Okay.
to keep them church podcast
Okay.
appropriate. So,
Okay.
however,
I hope I did too.
because, well, Glenn has already mentioned this song, and so I feel like I'll just go ahead and get this one out of the way. This is on the top of my list because even though I love all these obscure songs, my favorite Christmas album of all time is the Elvis Presley Christmas album. So I do have Blue Christmas at the top of my list. So I'll go ahead and put that one out there. And Glenn, you already kind of told the story behind it that he didn't want to do it. So he added a woo 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 part in to like try to tank the song, and it, you know, ended up making it more popular. But
Well, I mean,
I will say most covers of that song, they don't do the ooh 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 part.
We did it at Jingle Jam.
that's what I was going to say. He told me that at Jingle Jam.
Yeah.
Got to talk to him out in
We
the parking
actually
lot
got to talk to
afterwards.
Elvis a couple of weeks ago.
out,
pretty cool.
Out in the parking lot, and he was telling me that story. So that's how I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah, 1957, Elvis Presley Christmas album. That's one of my favorites.
Listed on the recording is the Jordanaires, as you said, but also
Jordanaires.
Millie Kirkham.
Okay, great.
She was the Nashville musician, so I'm not sure.
Interesting.
All right. My next one is a classic country song now, just because I've gotten older, but Christmas in Dixie by Alabama.
Yes,
Good choice.
So
it's classic.
that is a classic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That particular album was very heavily played.
Loved
in our
Alabama.
family.
So love. They're
My
not-
wife's
not
family,
like
for sure.
They're gone or anything, but they are not touring quite like they used to. But what a great song. And that's been done by many other folks, but the Alabama rendition of that is just what it is. All right, Kevin.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay classic. I'm turning the clock back a little bit to 1942. Bing Crosby. White Christmas.
Yes.
Nice.
I mean, I think everybody kind of goes to that a lot, but I, as usual, I'm interested in the history. Now think about 42. Okay. We got wartime. We've got lots of things going on. It was one of the first ones that really established secular Christmas songs as a thing. Before, it had been hymns and more traditional kinds of things. And ironically, it was written by Irving Berlin, a Jewish immigrant. So that was interesting. But it won an Academy Award. Do you know which movie it was in first?
Ooh, I do.
First.
I do.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Well, I was going to say White Christmas, but I
Nope.
feel like
It
I'm
is in
wrong.
that one.
Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn, which is an awesome movie. It's black and white, right? Yeah. Awesome movie. And it was recorded in May. Like most Christmas songs, they're recorded in the summer, right? Or spring in order to get them out at the right time, right? From a business perspective,
Yeah.
I'm looking at Patrick. I think that's a lot of times what happens. But it was recorded with orchestra and singers in 18 minutes.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That's it. And Irving Berlin claims it was the best song he ever wrote. It's covered many, many, many times over. And interestingly enough, do you remember the Karen Carpenter version? Mm-hmm. On my version, it's the Bing Crosby original, but there's a first verse that a lot of times doesn't get covered. It's the one Karen Carpenter sings. The sun is shining, the grass is green. Da, 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 da. That's actually the first verse. So that was interesting.
But in the movie White Christmas, that was kind of the whole play on, is that they were in Vermont and it hadn't snowed.
Yeah.
So I guess they played out the first verse.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Tom.
Well, I feel like I needed to do some more research because I just have artists and songs. I don't have
But you've got
back history.
Good stuff there.
So I'm going to step into a little bit of Glenn's lane here, and maybe Patrick may be familiar with this one as well. Robert Earl Keen, Merry Christmas from the Family. It's a great song. It's a great song.
Don't know that one.
He is a great songwriter. Absolutely.
Country music? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Robert Keane.
Robert Earl Keen.
Earl King. Yeah, you got to keep the Earl in there.
Have the
That
Earl
makes
in there.
sense. Yes.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I'm going to bring us down a little bit and add a sad song to the list. But
They mean so much.
so, have y'all heard the song Christmas Shoes?
Of course.
Yes. It actually came out in 2001. It's done by like a vocal group, new song. But the version I want to add to this list came out in 2008. It's by FM Static, which they're like sort of an alternative pop punky band. I find this song hilarious because, well, the song is very, very sad. And it's about a kid trying to buy a pair of shoes for his dying mother. But when it's covered by a pop punk band, it just doesn't fit very well. But I love it so much.
The energy. Is the energy so high?
The energy just doesn't fit the lyrical content. And I find it hilarious. And so I want to add this to the list. There was actually a movie called Christmas Shoes that came out starring Rob Lowe. I have not actually watched it, so I have so I have no comment on it. But
did it also that Kelly Williams was the mom that died?
Again, I have not watched the movie, so I do not know.
Isn't that the name? That's Brad Paisley's wife. What's her name? Maybe it's
Kimberly.
Kimberly,
yeah.
There was something, a Kimberly Williams. There was a Christmas Shoes movie with her in it.
Yeah,
as the mom who
that's
died.
probably the one, yeah.
Yeah.
So enjoy that dissonance of energy versus lyrical content.
All right. My next one is a true classic. And again, one of these guys that tends to shine in the Christmas time. But the Christmas song by Nat King Cole.
Hey, it's on my
Nat.
list.
Nat King Cole.
From good old Alabama.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, if you saw the last Grinch cartoon that was done,
Yeah.
when he goes to the Who's family dinner at the end, that's playing underneath, and it's just kind of a cool underneath sound, kind of like what you get when we put the speakers out in the driveway out here. When people walk in, it kind of has that feel to it, but that's a true classic right there.
I agree. And you know one of the writers? Do you guys know Mel Torme?
Of course.
Yeah. He was one of the writers.
No.
You don't know Mel?
I don't know Mel.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
You
interesting.
might know more about the song, but it is a true Christmas classic.
Well, the only story I've found on it, because that was on my list too, that it's one of those deals where there's a lyricist and a musician, so that they combine to make the song. But the lyrics were sitting on the composer's piano. He was writing it apparently a blistering hot summer back in 1945, and he just was jotting down notes to help him be cool, like think cool, stay cool kind of thing. And there were just the beginning lines of each of those verses. And Mel Torme came in and said, "Hey, what do you think? We just write a song about that." So it was written again in the summertime.
That's cool. That is interesting because a lot of people, when they record these, they do videos and stuff with the video. And they've been doing videos for these things a long time. It's usually in the summer.
Yeah.
And so as they were like burning up hot, they act like it's all Christmassy and stuff. So.
Well, I've seen pictures of artists, if they're in a studio, they put up Christmas lights, they make it real cold, they try and get in the feeling of the season, even though it is in the summer, and they're wearing shorts and whatever. All right, well, I'm going to jump ahead to 2016. Let's go. This is the version that came out. It's Mary, Did You Know? Written by Mark Lowry, which, if you know anything about Gaither Vocal Band, he was in that for a long time. And he wrote, I think he wrote the lyrics of it. Buddy Green wrote the music, but it was originally for Michael English, who was a part of the Gaither Vocal Band at that time, and he's the first one that recorded it. But the version I have is with a group called Voctive. They're 11-member a cappella from Central Florida, but they have ties to the Voices of Liberty at Epcot, all the music around Disney World, and a lot of the singers have worked there, sung there before. But as many of you know, I'm a big a cappella fan, and they have 11 people, and so it's pretty much like a small choir. But they did it with Mark Lowry back a few years ago, and it's a really cool version. Mark wrote this I think he lives in Nashville, or he used to, but
he lives in Texas now.
Yeah. He was writing a Christmas play for his church. And in the process, he was just trying to come up with, how do you even describe the Christmas miracle? And he said, well, what would it be like if I sat down with Mary over coffee? What questions would I ask? And so that's where the song came from.
There's a kid's book that they've done too with that, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And showing Mary holding pictures or holding Jesus in pictures and stuff. It's really, really a good kid's book too.
Yeah, but good song, good version. Check it out.
That was on my list too.
Hey.
I had it on the list, but I had it by Faith Hill. It's the one I
had it by Mark Lowry.
A lot of people covered it for sure.
Oh, a ton.
But it's a great song.
I had it by Mark Lowry as well because that's one of my wife's favorite. We own quite a few Mark Lowry DVDs at our house. So
his comedy specials.
He's coming. Good Mother's Day gift idea. He's coming to Williams Auditorium on the Saturday before Mother's Day.
Wow.
In Henderson this year.
Good to know.
Let me cover for Patrick. They're sold out. There's no way you could get tickets.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. She listens to the podcast, right?
Yeah,
they're sold. It would be a miracle.
Let's be honest. She doesn't listen to this podcast.
Okay, fair. Okay.
She hears me talking up at home.
All right, so I'm going to go to my kids list here, and I don't think this will be a surprise. I would like to hear Kevin make up a fake history for this song because it's about the summertime and the smells would be amazing. I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas by Gayla Peavy.
Oh,
so
I had the Casey Musgraves version on here, but yes,
the original. I think Gayla Peavy is the original.
Yes.
So, during the summertime, and there was a hippopotamus in the living room, and
I do know that she. So, do you know the year?
The original year is 1953.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I only know this because of the internet, but she sang this song on the Ed Sullivan Show.
I knew that.
So anybody that got on the Ed Sullivan Show eventually became famous in one way or another, or notorious. But it was recorded as a fundraiser to bring the city zoo, and I think in Oklahoma City Zoo, a hippo.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So it was released at Christmas time for Oklahomans to donate to the zoo to bring a hippo?
I'm reading it on the fly here, but she
That sounds
said
very Oklahoma.
she actually said it wasn't recorded as a fundraiser, but the
They
local
used it?
newspaper picked up the story and used it.
Oh, clever.
Well, on the note of zoo animals, I'm going to jump down my list as well because I feel like this is a good segue. This is off of my oddball category here. It's called Christmas at the Zoo by the Flaming Lips, 1995.
No way.
Yeah, it's about basically that they try to free all the animals from the zoo, but the animals don't want to leave the zoo, and it's Christmas Eve when they do it. So,
So
Yeah.
I will tell you, I have the Flaming Lips on my list as well.
Oh, do you?
So, yes,
Is it-
but not that song.
not that song.
Not that
Okay.
song.
All right.
Nice.
Is that the one they do with Peter Mokrin?
The version I have is just the Flaming Lips. I don't know if that's on Spotify. I'm on Apple Music, which is
Oh, here it is.
superior. I'm going to start a fight.
That's a whole other podcast, buddy.
Yeah.
It's really bad when you put down our hosting site like that.
I'm just kidding. Spotify's great. It's the
go.
best. I don't use that cheap Apple Music knockoff. What are we talking about?
We're on Apple Music though too, right? So
We are, but
Spotify,
they're our main host.
Spotify hosts are.
I got you.
They're the ones that host.
I don't think they're listening to our podcast.
What are you talking about? We're in the top percentage of some
That's
percentage.
right.
To be
That's
fair,
right.
we are in the top of the religion and spirituality category. So,
Oh,
yeah.
it's all that hippopotamus.
It's all that hippopotamus talk.
yeah.
Free the zoo animals.
All right, so I'm going to really go back to probably, what is this, the 80s? To the Oak Ridge Boys.
Okay.
Wow.
And Thank God for Kids.
Yes.
Since we all did kind of a kids thing there. Thank
These are
God
some good
for
ones,
Kids.
Glenn.
Yeah.
Really good song. I heard somebody talk about it the other day. I had forgotten about it. I had forgotten about that song, and I heard somebody talking. I was like, oh my gosh, I used to love that song. So it's on my list because I loved it so much. Thank God for Kids. There's Magic for a While, a special kind of sunshine in a smile.
Does it mention Christmas?
Yeah, it does. Talks about the birth of Jesus.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Yeah, it's a
I
good
can't
one.
believe I remember the lyrics from it. I don't know why I walked in the room right now, but I do remember that.
And for the record, he doesn't have lyrics in front of him. He just pulled that out. of
Yeah,
his-
just out of
yes.
clear blue.
All right. I'm going to something a little more orchestral
Ooh.
because that's all these kind of reflect my musical tastes.
Yeah, mine too.
I was going to say that earlier. This is a window into Patrick's soul. The Carol of the Bells,
Okay.
the David Foster version,
Oh,
not the Sarajevo 1980 whatever it is. You know that version too. The what was that? The Russian
Yeah, I don't know. You're asking.
The Trans-Siberian
Trans-Siberian
Orchestra,
Orchestra.
Oh, okay.
who are
Russian.
from Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't add any Trans-Siberian Orchestra to my list.
No, this is David Foster, 1993. It's also called Ringing of the Bells sometimes, but
and isn't he responsible for the women, the
Catherine
women from
McPhee?
Irish? No, the women from Ireland. The Celtic
woman.
Yeah, Celtic woman, and he's responsible for them. I think he led their
Possibly.
their music and stuff for that. In fact, I know he did. So
There you go. There you go.
and they have a Christmas album too.
David Foster's been involved in a lot of things as a producer and conductor, and
Yeah.
he's had TV specials. Anyway, this was originally a Ukrainian folk chant, and the music was kind of pulled from that in 1914. And then in 1936, Peter Wilhowsky put lyrics to it, and then it became kind of the thing that we know today. It was sort of made popular with Ray Conniff singers back in the 60s. So it was in Home Alone movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember a few years ago if you saw the Muppets parody version with the Swedish Chef and Beaker and Animal, where Animal drops a bell on Beaker at the end. And it was kind of going around a while ago. But anyway, Carol of the Bells.
Nice.
That's a good one.
What number am I on?
That was 14.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We're
You're going
still
to make
going.
me do math.
We'll go for a while longer.
Okay.
We got plenty.
All right. I've got so many. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
I imagine this is on somebody's list, but I'm going to go with Run DMC, Christmas in Hollis.
I'm going to check that off my list.
There you go, buddy. I love that song. And I had to make a decision between that and James Brown. Santa's going to go straight to the ghetto.
Go straight to the ghetto.
But Christmas in Hollis for me, when I can sing everywhere, but I'm not going to do it right now.
Nice.
I love Run DMC shoes.
Well, I think for my next pick, I'm going to go the opposite of obscure and pick probably the most popular Christmas song. Maybe not the most popular version of the song, but the most popular Christmas song.
All right.
Last Christmas. I'm going to put the Jimmy Eat World version on there.
Nice.
So as I was going through looking at a bunch of songs, there are so many different versions of a lot of different Christmas songs. So I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm going to pose it to you guys. What song do y'all think has the most versions of it? Because in my opinion, Last Christmas is probably at the top. Because Wham has the OG version from 1984.
So that was the OG.
Oh, no.
Wham was the OG.
Just
Last
Christmas song?
Yeah.
Oh, no. It has to be like Silver Bells or
Oh, see, I don't know.
Silent
What
Night
about
or
Rudolph?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed.
Because looking up Last Christmas, I mean, every major artist has covered And not major artist has covered Last Christmas.
I would think
Like Taylor Swift has a version, Kelly Clarkson, Ariana Grande, Meghan Trainor, Backstreet Boys, Gwen Stefani. Like, it's just...
I imagine it's some of those old classics that are
I think
public
times-
domain.
Well,
even.
you talked about...
time's working against you there.
You brought
buddy.
up the Christmas song, and that one's also on my list as a contender because there are a ton of different versions of the Christmas song.
I don't know. White Christmas is still, I think I looked this up. It's still the best selling single of all time. 50 million physical copies.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
And yeah, like you said, Tom, you got time. Time works for you when the older the song is, right?
I mean, I don't know. Wham, they put that song out 40 years
That's
ago.
true.
It's
That's
been
true.
out 40 years.
That is true.
But anyways,
So,
just
all
as
right.
a thought, I don't know.
So a quick Google and see if we agree on this or not.
Let's hear it.
Amazing Grace.
Okay.
Is that a Christmas song?
Well,
The one with the most different covers or versions is what,
it's they recognize Summertime as the most recorded song in history. They also note Amazing Grace has been recorded thousands of times, appearing on at least 11,000 albums.
wow.
Interesting.
All right.
So-
I found on here, surely the most widely covered Christmas song of all time. Wham's Last Christmas has more than 1,200
There
different
you go.
versions, and new ones are being added at a crazy rate. Also is public domain. What Child Is This, Silent Night, White Christmas, and Jingle Bells have all been
White
covered.
Christmas was, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, did George
ridiculous
Michael
amount.
write that one?
I think so.
think
Wow,
he
with
did.
that many
Yeah, I think
covers and that,
Even at a penny a deal.
that's craziness.
That's what you dream of as an artist.
Yeah,
You write one song and you never have to work
that's
again.
it. That's it. Wow.
That's an old Steve Martin.
But yeah,
joke, by the way.
the version I want to put on my list is the Jimmy Eat World version that came out in 2001.
that is a great version.
I almost put on the list. So when that song came out, it's not a single; it's like two songs. I don't know what you call that. Like on a record, it would be like
B-side.
A side, B side. But when it's digital, I don't know. But the other side is a song called "If You Were Born Today," and it's a song about if Jesus was born today, that we would kill him before he got old enough to do anything.
Got it.
And so it's pretty
From
yeah.
Jimmy Eat World.
From
you're
Jimmy Eat
saying.
World, yeah. Last Christmas, 2001.
All right. Next one on my list is also some instrumental-ish music, but it's also from my very own orchestra, "In the Christmas Mood" by Glenn Miller, by
yes.
Glenn Alvin Miller. by
You've
the
got
way.
to throw in the
Yes.
namesake.
So it's in the Christmas mood?
Yep, which is the name of the album, and it's also a song on the album. It's the last song on the album.
Okay.
So, "In the Christmas Mood." And so, of course, done back in the day when he was doing songs. He doesn't do that anymore.
Okay. I am going to go a little bit more recently again. Had to throw Pentatonics in there. But the Hark the Herald Angels Sing was on their first, I think their first Christmas album. This would have been 2014, I think. But the original, it's a hymn, of course. I like their version, but the hymn was originally one of those Charles Wesley related things. I think he put new lyrics to it or something. It was originally a Christmas carol, but it connects with Mendelssohn, the composer. It was originally more of a poem, which a lot of hymns were poems anyway. And then the music we know today and the lyrics together were later. An English person took that and made it what it is today. But I like the Pentatonics version.
Yeah, they do a good job.
I knew I could count on you to put Pentatonics on the
Yes.
list. I knew I left them off of mine because I knew you would cover it. So,
Got you covered.
Thank you. So I'm going to also go recent, and I saw this young lady in concert, and it's amazing. Lauren Daigle, O Come, Emmanuel,
Yes.
she's just fantastic all around. Holly and I were fortunate to see her a couple years ago down in South Haven, and worth it. It was absolutely worth it.
Well, I'm gonna put this out to y'all. You can choose to include this on the list or not. The song that I wanted to put on there is called "Hark." It's a version of "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." I know you just put the Pentatonics version on there, but this is it's called "Hark" by Planet Shakers. It's probably the opposite of Pentatonics.
If it's the one I know of, is that the one you've played?
Yes. It's like, hey, let's do a cover of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And they went entirely way too hard on this track. About a minute and a half in, there's a whole like keyboard solo section for about 30 seconds. And then about 2 minutes in, they go into like a halftime breakdown.
It's only at 3 minutes, 12.
Exactly.
You need to include it.
It
on there.
needs to be. Okay. So
It's good.
2017 Planet Shakers Hark. which they have like a whole Christmas album that they put out. Well, they put out smaller EPs and then they released it as a Christmas album, and they're all fantastic. I wish all of their stuff sounded like this, but for some reason it doesn't, and I don't know why. But yeah,
How
you
would
should check out all those Christmas songs.
How would you classify them? Are they
That was my question.
like
What genre?
So if
funk,
you
jazz, fusion, kind of like Snarky Puppy?
If you listen to most Planet Shaker songs, they're like a CCM band. They do Christian music.
Snarky Puppy.
Have you never heard of Snarky Puppy?
I have not.
Or Scary Pockets or
Dirty Loops.
Dirty Loops?
No.
It's all the same kind of vein.
It is,
but some of the Snarky Puppy.
Yeah,
That's,
but
I will be listening to that.
Most of Planet Shaker stuff is Christian music.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like kind of a lot of the other Christian music that's out there. But their Christmas album, for some reason, they go hard, and it's like solos, and like the musicianship on those albums is off the charts. And I don't know what they did different before they recorded those songs, but I would recommend checking out all the Planet Shakers Christmas stuff.
Are they typically more like kind of the Maverick City vibe?
Yeah,
It's
kinda.
a little bit kind of soul, funky.
There's a
edge to
little
it.
bit in there, but honestly, it's like when you listen to the Christmas stuff and you listen to the regular stuff, you would swear just listening to it was two different bands.
Okay,
Yeah. So
nice.
I am not familiar with Planet Shakers. I will investigate. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, I promise this is going to be a 180 from that direction. A little Western swing, When It's Christmas Time in Texas by George Strait.
Okay,
Good.
Done in the 80s. He did a little Christmas special, I guess late 80s, maybe early 90s. And this song was on that. And it's just really good Western swing. It's not even a country song. I would call it a Western song. But When It's Christmas Time in Texas, that's a good one. But I promise you, it's very, very different than the
Yeah, I would
Play-Doh
imagine.
Shakers.
kind of more in the
Shakers.
vein of Gene Autry and that kind of stuff, as opposed to
Yeah, maybe not quite. Let's see, who would be Bob Wills? I guess would be
okay.
a little more of the.
But see, this is what I
Texas
like
twang.
about these lists is that by bringing our minds together,
Yeah.
we make it so much more eclectic, and I love that.
For sure.
It's all
Honestly,
over the map right here.
I know, but to be fair, I've only marked off maybe 4 or 5 that we've duplicated off of my list.
Right.
So
Right.
Yes,
I like this.
Well, this is the last one I had on my list, but it is sort of a 180 from what you said, Glenn, and maybe from the Planet Shakers too. But 2004, When Christmas Comes to Town, from the Polar Express.
love that song.
And I
Not
was-
a big fan of that movie, but love the song.
I was
Movie's
going to
weird.
choose the one that was up for the Academy Award, Believe by Josh Groban, but I just don't like that one as well as this one,
Yeah.
because this is sung by the kids.
Yeah, they did a great job too.
And it's a great part in the movie when they're on the train and he's kind of realizing what's going on. Yeah, Matthew Hall, Megan Moore. I don't know if they've done anything since then,
Not that I'm aware of.
but that's 2004, so it's been a while ago. But whether you like the movie or not, it was definitely groundbreaking. It was the first all motion capture movie
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Of course, all animated, and Tom Hanks did 5 of the characters, but I didn't realize he actually bought the book rights and found Robert Zemeckis. Somehow they got connected, but he did not want it to be an animated movie. And he wanted to play Santa Claus and somebody else, maybe the conductor, I guess. And Robert Zemeckis said, well, we can't make this movie live action unless you have like $1 billion+. And so it eventually caved to that. But he was then going to play all of the characters, motion cap. But he got too exhausted. And they
was
said,
he only 5? Because he was the dad, the guy on top of the train, the conductor.
He played a little kid, but did the motion capture and they overdubbed on it. And I can't remember the 5th one.
Oh, he did Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I didn't realize a lot of people didn't like the movie. I thought everybody liked it.
It's not that I don't like the movie. It's the weird dead eyes. I mean, because it's the first
I agree.
like
Yeah,
animated
I agree
book.
with you.
The uncanny valley in that movie is just, it freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. It is a neat story. But when those kids are singing on the back of the train, that is just a really,
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
good.
cool. Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised this one has not come up yet. Feliz Navidad by Mr. Jose Feliciano.
Yes. It's the Christmas song that lasts
Yes,
and goes and
forever
goes and goes.
ever and ever.
like
We,
the
I
Energizer
love it
Bunny.
every time.
I got to tell this on summer because it's one of the funniest things in the world. We were on a trip to Gatlinburg sometime over, I think it was Christmas or something. We were over there several years ago. She was little. And she was playing, you know how they have the cabins, and she was upstairs playing pool, and she was doing Feliz Navidad, something, 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 something. She didn't know all the words and didn't know the Spanish part, so she would just go something, 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 something.
Prospero año y felicidad.
Yeah, so we always think of that.
Well, I don't have a lot of history behind this one, but to stay in the Spanish vein, for our Spanish-speaking listeners, I put Donde Está Santa Claus?
Nice.
By Augie Rios. Came out in 1955. Mamacita, Donde Está Santa Claus?
Who
From
covered
Augie-
that recently?
My favorite version of that is by Census Fail, which is a very like hardcore band that did a version of it. But the original was the Augie Rios, and I think that's the one we need to add to the list.
Well, because I love things that are around the beach all the time, I had to add the Kenny Chesney. All I want for Christmas is a real good tan.
I can honestly say I've never heard that.
What?
I'm going to have
I
to.
was going to say, it sounds like a lot of songs that he has done.
It does. And the other thing is, my daughters grew up just singing it all the time around the house. So I have very large memories. I have several videos of them sitting around just singing it a cappella, just the two of them, and they weren't aware they were being recorded. So it's some of those little videos you cherish on your phone kind of things.
I've got a question for you. This thought came to my mind. I forgot to ask you when you were talking the Veterans Day podcast. Did you like the water and around the water before military stuff? Did you grow up around it?
Yes. Yeah. I grew up around lakes and stuff like that. And then my mom's family lived in Northern California, but they lived about an hour from the coast. So anytime I went to the coast, you see the Pacific, my eyes were, and then everybody in my family on my dad's side was in the Navy. My mom's side was Army, but then like they were in the Navy, then several aunts, uncles, and all them were Army too, because of that generation. So, but yeah, around the water a lot.
Yeah, I've
Spent a lot
known
of time on the
people
water.
that didn't grow up around the water, but they were in the Navy and it just something stuck with them and they have a boat and they have to be around the water a lot
Yeah.
now. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, it is funny when you bring people from like the Midwest or something, or upper Midwest, and they grew up.
Yeah.
They weren't around the water very much. And like those first times, because you have to swim, boot camp and stuff, and it's always fun to watch those people who've never swam before. They get to Navy boot camp. That's the first time they get in the water.
Right.
You don't have to do a lot of it, but you just got to be able to survive long enough to get from one end of the pool to the other. But so
Wow.
I've always loved the water. It's always been home to me. All right, so yeah, all I want for Christmas is a real good tan. Islands.
I'm out.
You're
so
out.
You guys are.
Okay, well, you can still comment because I still have quite a few to
Well,
talk
I
about.
do too. If you'll let me, we're going to have our, I think, first repeat artist. The Flaming Lips, A Change at Christmas.
Yes.
And if you listen to the words of that song, I was introduced to the Flaming Lips in a different vein, but the words of that song are, I don't know, it makes you think for a minute. It talks about everybody comes together at this time of year, and then it just goes away as the season goes away. And they sort of lament that we can't be nice to each other all year long. It's a powerful song for me.
Do we want another obscure song next, or do we want one that's?
It would be good to add a popular song that somebody else might know.
Well, then I'm going to put this one on here because this is one of my all-time favorite Christmas songs. It's called "Peace on Earth" / "The Little Drummer Boy" by Bing Crosby and David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Yeah,
Good choice.
I won't get into all of the story behind that.
I was
but-
just going to ask you, give me a juicy tidbit. 'Cause I
Well,
know
so
a little bit.
it
of
was
this.
originally recorded for Bing Crosby's 1977 Christmas special. And David Bowie and Bing Crosby both talked about how it was one of the weirdest experiences for both of them. And Bing Crosby just really did not like David Bowie at
I
first.
did that part.
And David Bowie hated the song Little Drummer Boy. They ended up like writing the arrangement and coming up with it, perfecting it in like an hour because he didn't want to sing the Little Drummer Boy, which is what it was supposed to be originally. So there's a whole bunch of drama behind it. But then another little interesting tidbit is Bing Crosby died 5 weeks after recording it. So it was, I think, his last song that he recorded.
I was not aware that they actually recorded that. I thought it was spliced. So that's interesting
Yeah.
to know.
I think there's a video of them sitting beside each other.
Well, it
doing
was for his TV Christmas special is
Yeah,
where they recorded it. And Bing Crosby's like acting like, oh, my relative is going to come over. And it's like his cousin. And there's a knock on the door. And oh, look, it's David Bowie. And he's like, oh, this is my cousin from
Yeah.
England that just likes to play the piano. So, hey, let's do a song together. And then David Bowie's like, sure. Well, do you know this one? And it's like one they had literally just written like an hour before.
Well, that's funny because when you listen to it, it does sound in some ways kind of like thrown together.
That's what I thought it was.
Which is cool about it because it sounds more real and
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yes, Peace on Earth. And also, just for those that want to, there's a version where Jack Black and Jason Segel did a version of it that's
I've
kind
heard
of
that one.
funny,
Yes.
but we'll put the original on the list.
Good choice.
All right, I'm going to, because I'm pretty well out of my list too, but I'm going to add like standards as we go, so keep up with some of y'all's stuff. But Away in a Manger, but I'm going to put the Carrie Underwood version just because Carrie's a good singer. so, but Away in a Manger is always a really, really good one. Kevin, that's all I'm going to do is help add.
I can
standards.
look it up, but let's go ahead and let Tom.
All right, Tom.
Okay, so Go Tell It on the Mountain.
Oh, that's a good one.
Big Daddy Weave.
Oh, I was half expecting the Need to Breathe version, but
I really like the Big Daddy Weave.
Big Daddy Weave's got a good
His
version,
voice does something to that song.
Yeah.
So like it a lot.
good. Well, I'll put another not obscure one on the list. I'll Be Home for Christmas. I want to throw the Elvis version on there personally. That's my favorite.
Nice.
Bing Crosby did the OG in 1943. Okay, I have a little game to play with this song. I'll be home for Christmas. Fill in the blank. I'll be home for Christmas. You can blank on me.
Count.
Wrong.
I had a feeling you were setting this up.
You can plan on me.
Oh.
I went down a rabbit hole because when I was listening to these earlier and I heard it, I was like, because my mind went count on me.
Plan on me.
And I went down a rabbit hole, and Bing Crosby version, You Can Plan on Me. That's the original. Elvis's version came out in 1957.
I bet that's
also,
right.
You Can Plan on Me. Perry Como, You Can Plan on Me. But I finally found it, which saved my sanity a little bit this morning. The Carpenters version in 1978 says, You Can Count on Me.
That's probably where I got it because I love that album.
But I did the exact same thing. I was like, wait a minute, that's wrong. It's You Can Count on Me. But every version I looked up was You Can Plan on Me, except for the Carpenters version.
Michael Bublé
And after
is You Can Plan on Me as well. That's a little wild.
Well, if Booble did it,
Yeah, Booble.
If old Booble did it, then
That's right.
But yeah,
All right.
I'll be home for Christmas.
I'm going to add The Man, The Christmas Man, A Holly Jolly Christmas by Burl Ives.
Ah, yes.
But I have a question. Is New Kid in Town by the Eagles, is that a Christmas song? Y'all?
No, but the Eagles do have a Christmas song.
They do.
What is that? What is the name of that song?
I couldn't remember. I thought I'd heard New Kid in Town kind of
Christmassy.
related to it as a Christmas song, but it may not be.
I don't know the full lyrics on that one.
I don't either. That's the reason I was asking.
No,
The
tune,
Eagles
but-
do have a song called Please Come Home,
Please
for,
Come Home
Christmas.
for Christmas.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
That's on my list, but not by the Eagles.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
All right. So, yeah, Holly Jolly Christmas by Burl Ives.
Okay, I actually do have one I forgot to put on my list, but when it came out, it was just the right song at the right time. How Many Kings by Down Here.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it than that. I don't really know much Down Here, but they're a Christian rock band,
Yeah.
Christian something. That song doesn't seem to be real rocky, though, interestingly enough. But they've done quite a few albums. I just not as familiar with them. But
I think we used one of their songs in a youth musical
Okay.
like a decade ago. But
it's possible that I know of them, but I just didn't know they did it, That
Okay.
kind of thing.
I'll give you the artist, and y'all can tell me the name of the song, because to my knowledge, this is it. Thurl Ravenscroft.
Oh, I should know this. The Grinch
Yes.
Yes. I was like, I just looked this up yesterday.
with a name like Ravenscroft.
Right.
I was getting confused with that Ravenettes song,
Oh, nice.
Ravens, what?
Ravenscroft.
Ravenscroft.
That's the original.
You're a mean one,
That's it.
Mr. Grinch.
And I'm assuming that was written for the movie, I'd imagine. Or
I believe so, yeah.
Sure. It's actually written for a fundraiser for Kansas City Zoo.
to get us get
They
a
saw how
hippo.
well Oklahoma did.
By the way, they did get the hippo. They did get the hippo, and the hippo lasted or lived for 50 years.
Oh, nice.
Little extra
Where does
random
one-
factoid.
Where does
Have I-
one
have I-
procure a hippo?
Yeah, that's a good question. Have I told you the little tidbit behind the Grinch? I'll have to look up specifics, but they made another Grinch movie that was a Halloween movie that
Yeah.
was a prequel
Grinch Night.
to the Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, it was Grinch Night. Yeah,
I have not
Yeah.
seen nor heard of that.
yeah, it
So-
came out in the 70s.
There's,
It was
an-
like a,
there's another one coming out sometime this month. There's another Grinch coming out.
but yeah.
Let me guess. Is
book.
Timothy Chalamet playing the Grinch?
Is it a musical version of the Grinch?
I can't remember exactly what it is. So. But I just remember them talking about it. That something more Grinchy was coming out. And a shout out to the two Grinches driving around in the cool little convertible car in town.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know who you are, but you are some cool Grinches, and that is one cool car.
Is that the little 3-wheel?
Now it's a little like a hot rod roadster type thing.
Okay. I haven't seen that one then.
It's really cool.
I've seen Black Panther driving around town.
Oh, yes.
occasionally,
Ooh,
so
yeah. I've
that
seen
guy's,
him.
Yeah,
that
I've
guy's
seen
having
that.
some fun. So.
Yeah, but this is a little Grinch car. Pretty cool. All right, Patrick.
All right, we're going to go a little more obscure with this one. This guy, he's an Icelandic singer. It's a recent song, though. Came out in 2020? Yeah. It's called Every Moment is Christmas with You by Dottie Freyr.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah. His most popular song is called Think About Things. Do y'all know about the Eurovision Song Contest?
Yes.
In Europe? It's a big song contest in Europe. It's like a big deal. And he was on the 2020 Eurovision with his song Think About Things, but they canceled it like halfway because of COVID and they never finished it. So he came back in 2021 with a different song and only came in 4th place. But still, 4th place in Eurovision's like a really big deal. But he's got a song out called Every Moment is Christmas with You. And I would recommend watching the music video because it's bonkers.
Okay.
It's a fun time.
My knowledge of Icelandic music begins and
I was
ends.
just gonna say.
You're not a
Bjork.
big fan of
At Bjork, that's it.
Icelandic
Yes.
singers?
That's all I know. Pretty sure she's from Iceland. I hope I didn't just miscountry her.
She's probably from Greenland.
All right.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to add the Silent Night,
Nice.
but I'm going to add the Temptations version.
Ooh, good version.
So
Gotta have a little Motown on
gotta
the
have
list.
a little Motown if you're going to have a list.
I like it.
Yep. So Silent Night by the Temptations. Kevin?
Well, I want to put Oh Holy Night on there.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure which version to do.
I'll just put the Weezer version on there.
Weezer version.
Weezer version's a good version.
I mean, Mariah's done that. Celine has done that. Josh Groban has done that. I'm sure Andrea Bocelli
Yeah,
has done
that's
that.
another one that there's 100 different versions of.
And it's a
Andy Williams did
hard song to sing.
oh yeah,
Dude.
I love the fall on your knees. The fall. That's
Let's do
the best part of the song.
Mariah since we all made a pact. We weren't going to put her other song.
Oh no,
Give me my potato back.
we said no, Mariah.
Well, not that other Mariah song.
Yeah, that one's been played enough. Not even gonna mention it by name.
That's right.
All right. So I'll go. Patrick mentioned this a second ago. Christmas, Baby Please Come Home by U2.
Okay.
That
That's
was
a good one.
84, maybe?
Somewhere around there. Yeah, sounds right.
Somebody who grew up in the 80s.
It was before my time.
Yes.
I was not alive.
It was on one of
1984.
the Now That's What I Call Christmas, or it was a compilation album.
Yeah.
A very special
A
Christmas.
very special Christmas. That's it.
A lot of people covered that song too.
Yes.
Well, I feel like I need to include this song. It's called "Rockin' Around the Christmas
There you
Tree"
go.
Yeah.
by Brenda Lee.
Brenda Lee.
The original.
I have to say that because this year it charted at number 1. 65 years after it came out,
Wow.
charted number 1. It barely broke the top 20 when it originally came out. So 65 years after it came out, it hit number 1 on the charts. And she actually just put out a new music video for it back in November, which is great because she's like in her 80s. Because I think she was 13 years old when she originally recorded that song in
She was young.
I didn't realize
1958.
that.
I knew she was real young.
1958. She was 13 when she recorded that song. And so now I guess 65 plus 13 is math.
Matt.
Yeah.
78.
Well done. Left his shoes on and everything.
Yeah, I didn't even have to count my toes. But yeah, so she's like 78 and doing a music video for this song, and it's fantastic.
And so that makes you wonder, does the video, obviously the video helped drive that to 1?
I'm sure it did.
That's a little
Yeah.
wild.
My grandfather would be happy about
I
that.
don't know. I don't know about Tom and Kevin, but for me, that song does to me what Mariah's song does to you.
Oh, really?
It makes me a little crazy.
You've heard it a little too one too many times?
Yeah. I mean, I like it, but it's still you're just like one time.
Yeah.
It seems like it was played over and over.
It
That's
was.
true.
Before Mariah
I just felt
came
like I
along.
needed to mention it because of her reaching number
No,
1 on the
that
charts.
is cool, though.
Like
It is
this week, yeah.
That is cool. All right. So because we learned about the 12 days of Christmas before we started the podcast, how all those gifts are really birds.
Oh, yeah. We didn't do that while we were on air. Do we need to tell the
So, yeah.
listeners?
So all those gifts are birds. You end up with like 184
Yeah.
birds.
So all of the gifts, even the gold rings and the piper's piping, those
Different
are all
names for birds.
birds. And so it was what? You end up with what?
184 birds.
184 birds and 12 pear trees
Yeah,
by the end of
12
it. So you got a little pear orchard and 185 birds for Christmas.
So we're going to add the 12 Days of Christmas by Straight No Chaser.
The
Okay.
best,
Good
best
choice.
version.
Yeah,
Good
a great
choice.
version. So there we go.
It is very funny. I'm going to throw something out there just because I can, and my original list is gone. Wonderful Christmas Time, Paul McCartney.
Wonderful Christmas Time. Is that song?
That's another one that goes on and on forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Am I up?
I guess so.
All right. I've got a handful left. I haven't really gotten into some of the weirder ones, but this is on my kids' list, but it is kind of weird too.
Yeah.
That You, Santa Claus, Louis Armstrong.
Oh, yeah.
If you actually listen to the lyrics of that, is this the Boogeyman or is it Santa Claus?
Yes.
It's pretty interesting. I enjoy that song.
I'm a big fan of Louis.
Yeah.
So he did that with the Commanders?
He did, yes.
Okay, making sure.
Sorry.
Well, no, just making sure because there's another one with Ella Fitzgerald.
Ella's
And,
version is good. I think
just
Louis
wanna
is
make sure-
better.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I had
And
the
I,
right one.
and I don't have Ella on my list, and I feel like I should.
I didn't put any yellow on my list either.
She's another one of those that you know that she had other songs.
Yes.
But yet Christmas.
Christmas.
really brings her out. Yeah.
Well, she did that duet, right? The Santa Baby one.
Yes.
with, Louis Armstrong.
I do have a Whitney song on my list.
Oh, okay.
I have a Whitney song on my
we
list.
have to
I wonder
add a
if it's
Whitney
the same
song.
one.
We have to add.
Oh.
Let's just add Whitney now.
Is this from the movie?
I know
Preacher's
what movie.
Wife?
Yeah.
It is not the one from
Whoa.
Okay.
I thought he was bound and determined to do that.
I know he did that on purpose.
What you got, buddy?
Did I leave it on my list or did I take it off? Here it is. One Wish, and in
Oh.
parentheses, For Christmas
Nice.
by Whitney Houston, 2003.
That's a good one.
My list is so long, it took me a second to find it.
My Whitney selection would be Do You Hear What I Hear?
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Oh, that's a good song.
Also not the one from The Preacher's Wife. That's
No.
the one I was expecting somebody else to put on there. My mother's going to be disappointed in me for not including Preacher's Wife on there.
All right, so I'm going to add this. Speaking of your mom,
And my mom's not that important. You don't.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I'm just
well,
kidding.
speaking
Mom, I
of your
love
mom,
you.
well, I'm going to put one of her favorite singers on here, "Breath of Heaven"
That
by
was
Amy Grant.
There you go. Is that on your list too?
that was number 6 on my list.
That's good.
If it didn't make me cry every time I listened to
Yeah.
it, I would have left it on my list. So I have a question on our list. Have we included Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer yet?
It has not been.
It has not.
Brought
been.
up yet.
I would like to submit Mr. Gene Autry and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
The OG.
please. The OG. Yes, sir. There's a lot of great versions on that.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that one.
See, I've still got a bunch of obscure songs that I haven't even reached the weird songs yet.
Okay.
So
We may just have to add yours.
Do you have Wild Man Fisher on
Afterwards.
yours?
I don't. But let's see. What song do I want to add next? I want to add Christmas Treat by Julian Casablancas on there. This is a funny story. Julian Casablancas recorded this song, and it is actually a cover of a song that was done for an SNL skit in 2000, but he actually recorded a real version of it. And then they ended up in 2011, I think, having him, or 2009, 10, 11, somewhere in there, having him come back on SNL and do that with them. And
Nice.
now there's been a whole bunch of different versions. It's also sometimes better known as I Wish It Was Christmas Today. And some of my favorite versions are there's a Cheap Trick version that's really good and
Yeah.
a Census Fail version that's really good. But Julian Casablancas was the first one to record the SNL skit song. And y'all probably know that. It's the one from 2000. It was the first skit, and it opens up, and it's Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands and Tracy Morgan and Chris Kattan, and they do the song, I Wish It Was Christmas Today. Y'all know that one?
That sounds
It sounds
very
familiar.
Well,
Yeah.
look up that song because
Can you do a little more of it? Can you?
I'm
give
not
us a
going to, though.
Oh,
Can I turn on my cell phone
We
camera
almost-
and watch?
we
Yeah.
almost had him. Almost had him.
I'm dancing. Y'all can't see it.
So let me ask you about this one.
Okay.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That was on my list.
The Chipmunk song, Christmas Don't Be Late.
Christmas star.
I won a hula hoop because of that.
All right.
You won?
Once.
Want.
He really wants a hurla herp.
That's pretty good, actually. And Dave Seville was the stage name of the gentleman that wrote it. So I don't know why he didn't go with his regular name, but
It was his voice
it was his voice. Yep.
sped up in
Yep.
3 different, yes.
And for those of us that grew up with records, you could then speed that up again.
Okay, this is off topic. Did you ever get I forget the name of it. It was the Chipmunks album. It was vinyl that did covers of everything from Dukes of Hazzard theme song to.
Oh my goodness, no. That would be gold though.
It was awesome. It was great. My parents actually bought it.
What was the artwork on the front of the cover? Do you remember? Because I have a Chipmunks album that has them, if I'm thinking correctly, they're on a dance floor. It's like a disco.
Like Saturday Night Live?
Like a light up disco
Yeah.
stage. I have that album.
Maybe because
on record.
They did 9 to 5. They did the Dukes of
I
Hazzard
gotta
theme
find it
song.
now. I got to find it now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that in years, but
If I can find it, I'll bring it to
That's
share.
hilarious.
that was awesome.
Now, I think Tom or Patrick probably have this one on their list. Does anyone know the artist Lou Monte?
That's on the weird list that I have.
No.
Yes, I do. I have that one.
Dominic, the Italian
donkey.
Christmas
The Italian
donkey.
Christmas donkey.
Yep.
Hee-haw, hee-haw. If y'all don't know Dominic the donkey, and
It's
in parentheses,
fantastic.
the Italian Christmas donkey, then y'all need to look that up.
Yeah, that's one your kids will love to just sing along with.
I'm surprised somebody else pulled that one up. I'm proud of you, Glenn.
Yeah.
Well done.
I
And
thought I
that
was
would have
gonna
been
be-
top 10 on the kids list for me,
Yeah.
but not top 5.
All right.
So I have an obscure one here.
All right.
I'm a Christmas Tree by Wildman Fisher, and it's Wildman Fisher with Dr. Demento.
Oh my.
So yes, and it's just two idiots and a microphone. I mean, it's very similar. No, I'm not going to say it.
No, we're four idiots.
Four
Oh my
idiots
God.
and a microphone. So,
So Dr. Dave?
Dr. Demento.
Oh, Dr. Demento.
It's Wildman Fisher,
Oh, there it is.
Fischer.
Have you put a Weird Al song on?
I have one on my list.
Thinking of Dr. Demento. Maybe
Yeah.
think of that.
Yes, I have one on my list.
Well, since the last two were kind of weird and obscure, I'm going to go with still obscure, but one a little more serious. This is probably the oldest song that's been suggested today while we've been
Okay.
recording. It was originally written in 1642.
Yep, you won it.
It's called Huron Carol. And I'm
Okay.
going to submit the version by the Canadian Tenors.
Oh, that's not the one that Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell sing, and they.
No. No.
The Canadian.
Yeah, the Canadian Tenors did a version of Huron Carol. There's also a Sarah McLachlan version, which is
Yeah.
pretty good, but I like the Canadian Tenors version. So the story behind this one, it's a Canadian Christmas hymn. It's Canada's oldest Christmas song. It was written, they think, in 1642, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. It's a very French name, and I will just mess it up. But he was a Jesuit missionary among the Hurons in Canada back in the 1600s.
So the Canadian singers?
The Canadian Tenors.
Tenors.
Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble finding it.
If you can't find that version, put the Sarah McLachlan version on there.
Well, I've got the
but-
Canadian brass.
No, it's not that one because that's
wait.
just instrumental.
Oh, here it is.
Although Canadian brass is a good,
Yeah, here it is.
yeah. But it was originally written in like the original Huron language and wasn't translated until much later into English. I think the English translation came out in like 1926 or something. But Huron Carol.
There it is. That looks cool.
Yeah, they refer to God as Gitche Manitou, which is the original Algonquin way to
it's
say
gotta
like
be.
Great Spirit, but that's what they called God was Gitche Manitou.
Yeah,
So
Hurons.
yeah,
Okay, so I will go with Weird Al, since he was just brought up, and
good.
Christmas at Ground Zero, which is an obscure little tune. Maybe not let your super young ones listen to it. It's clean, but it has, as you can imagine, Ground Zero being nuclear fallout. It might traumatize some itty bitties, but kids could listen to it, but young ones maybe not. Patrick, I think you're going to outlast all of us.
Yeah,
I've
I don't.
got- I've got
I'm
three
trying
or
to
four
decide. I
left.
don't think I need to put all of these on the list because
Okay.
we'll be going for a while. I'm trying to pick my last one to add to the list.
Okay.
Just one more.
Want to get the Star Wars Christmas album on there? Do you want to give that a plug or no?
No, if you want to add that one, I'll let you add that one.
Okay.
I've got a couple I'd like to add because we've got some classics on my list that we still haven't added to the list. I'm going to go with another kind of obscure song, but it's one that I really love. It's called Peace by Michael McDonald.
Okay.
I like Michael McDonald.
Yes.
I love his voice, and it's a really good song.
There's one with Michael W. Smith.
There is a Michael W. Smith version where they do a duet together, which is really good. I personally prefer the one that's just Michael McDonald because I love his voice, but either version would be
got the
appropriate.
OG.
Since we're going around the table, I'll add one more. How's
All right.
that? Christmas Time is Here, Vince Guaraldi Trio.
Nice.
From Peanuts, Charlie Brown Christmas. That's the one. That's the one.
I think we're getting some feedback. I'm not sure who.
Feedback.
All right. If we're in the interest of conserving time, I'll shorten it to this one. What can you get a Wookiee for Christmas when he already owns a comb? And that's supposedly by the artist Miko, M-E-C-O. But it's on the Star Wars Christmas in the Stars Star Wars album.
Yes. We got to represent a little Star Wars on the list.
That would be an album worth having if you could find it, right?
Yes,
find
absolutely.
that.
I have a Miko Star Wars album, but it's not the Christmas one.
Not the Christmas
Yeah.
one.
Miko?
M-E-C-O. And I could not have told you that without the magic of the internet. Patrick maybe could have.
Maybe, yeah.
So we escaped without doing any Britney or NSYNC or Backstreet Boys.
Patrick's got one left, I think.
No 90s. No 90s.
I think we need to put a
represented.
pin in it.
Oh, is that it?
Well, hey, we want a 90s song. I'll go different on 90s. It came out in 1990. It was on a soundtrack for one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time,
Die Hard.
Home Alone.
Oh, Home Alone.
It was written by John Williams. It's called Somewhere in My Memory.
Oh, okay.
And
Feels like
it's
I should
really
know this.
Yeah, there's a couple of different versions, and there is a version by 4 Year Strong that I really like, but the OG John Williams version from the Home Alone soundtrack is real good.
Okay.
That's the one that goes somewhere in my memory.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like it.
Na, 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 na.
I know it.
People recognize the melody even if they don't know what it's called. But
Correct.
so there you go. 1990. We got a 90s song on there.
90s in there.
I'm not going to put any Britney on there. I'm sorry.
I was just joking. There's no Kelly Clarkson either.
Kelly Clarkson did a version of Last Christmas
Yes.
if you'd rather listen to that one. But again, I've still got
Listen to that last
I've
night.
got literally hundreds of songs we could add to
Yes.
this list, but I'm
Yes.
not going to. I got to
No
I got to
Merle
stop
Haggard.
somewhere.
Hey,
No
but you
Merle
know,
Haggard.
if you pull up the top 100s, top 20, we've got most of them,
Yeah.
I think.
I've still got a lot of classics on here that we did not mention.
Then we got a good collection, though.
Yeah, I think so.
For those listening, Glenn is composing the playlist
Yes.
real time. So
Real
he's-
time.
He is furiously typing away with just a potato in his way.
Well, while he's finishing that up, I might go through some announcements just
Sure.
to remind
Great idea.
everybody that this weekend is the Christmas cantata. So on Saturday, there's a performance at 7 p.m. in the sanctuary. Make sure you come out. If you've got friends or family that you'd like to hear it, but they go to another church and they won't be able to come on Sunday morning, bring them out to the Saturday night performance because it's going to be really good this year. And then Sunday morning, 10 a.m., we'll have another performance of the cantata. We will have Sunday school this Sunday. It will be at 9 o'clock. So we'll do Sunday school at 9 o'clock and then the service at 10 o'clock. So make sure you come out for the Christmas cantata. And then we're getting really close to Christmas, y'all, because the next week is Christmas Eve.
Goodness.
I know. And Christmas Eve, we're going to have one service Sunday morning at 10 o'clock a.m., no Sunday school, and that service will be in Hope Hall. And then we'll have our regular Christmas Eve candlelight services in the evening at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock p.m. in the sanctuary. And yours truly may or may not be singing a song at the 7 o'clock Christmas Eve service. So if you want to hear me grace your ears, then come to the 7 o'clock.
Dulcet tones
If
of the
they-
warbler.
Yes, if they hear me say that, then they'll probably ask me to not sing. But
I may be reading. May
Oh,
or may
hey.
not be reading.
you're going to get both of our soothing voices.
Which song from our list will you be singing?
You know, I put it on my list.
Dominic, the Italian Christmas donkey.
Yes. Hee-haw, hee-haw.
I'm there. I am so there for that.
I would get fired if
Hey, donkeys were there at Christmas time.
Yep. And then the next week, we've got New Year's Eve. I almost said Christmas Eve again, but no, it's New Year's Eve the next week. We'll have one service that Sunday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. in the sanctuary. So make sure you've got those important times and dates marked down on your calendar so you don't miss anything, because I know the schedule's a little different than normal. So, yeah, Glenn, did you get our playlist finished
Playlist
up?
is up and out and ready to roll. So right now there's 3 hours and 7 minutes of Christmas listening joy.
That's a great length to put on at any Christmas party. You know, people will be stunned by your eclectic taste in music.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to send all of our listeners a report
Okay.
because there's good news to report.
What's that?
I have found the cookie.
Hey.
Oh,
The
hey.
cookie has been found
The
and
cookie.
has been replicated.
Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
It took a whole year, but we did find the missing cookie recipe. And so now the cookies that I was after all year long belong to Lila Botkins.
Okay.
It is the orange Christmas cookie, the orange slice Christmas cookie. It's a cookie with those little orange slices, like those little candies.
Yeah.
Chopped up in there. You can put pecans in them, but hers didn't have them in them that time. But I have her recipe now, and Barbie has made it, and it's the very one. It is a delicious cookie. So hopefully soon I can get some made and brought up here for everybody to try. In case you missed them last year. She didn't bring them this year, though. So it took a year to find out who brought them.
I thought you said something about cranberry. Was it just taste buds were confused?
No. Somebody thought they were cranberry. When I was trying to describe it, somebody thought they were cranberry. And so that sent us on this whole cranberry escapade.
Goose chase.
So it wasn't until we were talking about it and Lila was there and somebody said, well, Lila makes an orange. So I said, that might be it. And so whenever we tried them, it was exactly perfect.
Okay, mystery solved.
That's crazy. It took me 1 year to find out who made a cookie. But we did. We survived. We got it through. So now I can have Christmas orange slice cookies anytime I want them. So there we go.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for podcasting with me. And thanks to all of you out there in the world for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it online, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram at Northside Now Podcast. Go to our website, northsidejackson.com, or email us at podcast@northsidejackson.com. We hope to hear from you soon. Once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Tom.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.